Time now for the Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.
About the way we get along or don't get along, as the case may be, there is a humorlessness. There is a lack of goodwill. There is a lack of good faith. Everybody is so deadly serious. Now, being serious is important. You don't want levity and banter to be bandied about all the time, in serious and impactful times. But I mean the ability to approach things, approach people with a sense of good humor and with a sense of goodwill. I think it makes you a better warrior for your cause. I think it. It's why Bill Maher is a better liberal than Mika Scarborough. It's I'll tell you what, it's what made Rush Limbaugh. But listen, a lot of things made Rush Limbaugh, and it's so funny because I made a reference yesterday to Open Line Tuesday, which is a reference to Chris and his tradition of Open Line Friday, which is a tradition born in the years of the Rush Limbaugh show, which ran from circa 1988 until his death in 2021. Do you know that yesterday was the 5th anniversary? I was looking through Twitter and I found there was Bo Snerdley, my friend James Golden, real name, who has a talk radio empire of his own now out of WABC in New York. And the first time, it's funny, I filled in for Rush from 2008 to 2012. But the first time I met him or entered that sphere, I was down the dial on another radio station here in Dallas-Fort Worth that carried the Rush Limbaugh show. That's a good gig if you can get it. And we took a plane load of listeners up to New York. This would have been circa 1996, 97. So the Limbaugh show had been a big deal already for about a decade. It was already hugely impactful, and he had the wonderful TV show. It was satirical. It was great. It was just fantastic. And so we took a plane load of listeners up there, which meant I was doing the show from New York. Woohoo! That was fun. And of course, being an ABC affiliate, and I'm doing the show on the floor. The Limbaugh studio is like down the hall. So the show I was doing at the time was like 9 to noon. There was some overlap. So the opportunity to walk into that office with its separate ventilating system so he could smoke cigars in there in an office building in New York City. That's how you get around those regulations. You make a separate ventilation system. And meet him, and he came in and sat down. He didn't have to. Listen, show prep is kind of sacrosanct. When you're focused like a laser beam on what the heck you're going to do on a given day show, the average host's thought is some form of "don't bother me." Okay, and he came in and plunked down and just shot the bull with me for 30 minutes before walking down the hall and doing his own show. I never forgot that. And so a decade later, when Rush is making an appearance here in DFW, and I'm standing backstage just watching him put a crowd of 12,000 in the palm of his hand. This would have been probably somewhere around 2007. And his people, the folks working with the syndication company said, Mark, would you have any interest in filling in for Rush? That's going into the rotation of people who fill in for Rush. I said, let me get back to you in about a millisecond. And the running joke was that everybody filling in for Rush circa 2008 to 2012, everybody was named Mark. It was me, the great Mark Stein, and Mark Belling out of Wisconsin. So it's like, spin the Mark wheel and see who shows up. It was glorious. But anyway, not about me. I just couldn't believe it. I just could not believe that it has been 5 years. And so with just a minute or so left in this segment, and then we'll hop into doing what we're going to do today. Much was said when Rush Limbaugh passed 5 years ago yesterday. Who would fill those shoes? Who would rush in, no pun, to fill that void? And the answer is that no one has, and no one can. All we can do is remember. And those of us, listen, there's a lot of conservative talk radio out there, and there are shows that are doing a wonderful job. And nobody's trying to be him because no one can, any more than a snappy, talented band in the 60s was trying to be the Beatles, although imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Everybody has their own gig. Everybody has their own approach. But I will be forever grateful that a gig that I started like in 1982, especially on AM stations. We're on FM stations all over the place now as well, on video platforms like Salem News Channel. This entire art and science of conservative media was lifted by the way he did shows. And I will tell you, just to circle back to what I was talking about, was it because he was conservative? Sure. Was it because he was smart? Sure. But the humor woven through that show, the way he approached things as a happy warrior, that's what made the difference. So God bless you, Rush. We remember you 5 years down, and we will never, ever forget.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel. Stay informed anytime, anywhere with the Salem News Channel and 9:30 a.m. TheAnswer.com. This has been The Daily Answer, sponsored by Salem Surround on The Answer Now TV.